Hi, this is Pokey LaFarge, and you're watching Blues Kitchen.
Pokey LaFarge is a one-of-a-kind musician based in St. Louis, Missouri. We catch up in London on the last date of his hugely successful European tour. Pokey tells us about his 7th studio album, Manic Revelations, and he performs a beautiful version of Geraint Watkins' Only a Rose, a song he learnt especially for this film. Pokey LaFarge, welcome to the Blues Kitchen.
Thanks for having me, man.
Lovely to have you back.
Yeah, good to be here in Camden and in London.
Nice.
A warm day.
It is a warm day for once, yeah, after all the snow. In a short while, you're going to be indulging us with a cover of Geraint Watkins' Only a Rose. But before we get to that, I mean, how are you doing? How's life on the road at the moment?
Yeah, good. You know, we were saying it's a warm day, and that has special significance because we've been on the road in Europe. Well, I've been over here for 6 weeks. I was on a little vacation before the tour. We're actually playing our last show of the tour tonight. So a month in Europe with the band. But it's just been cold the whole trip. Obviously, it's wintertime. But, you know, This is the last day, and it's London, and it's only March, and it's warm. And we're at Coco, and it feels good.
Any highlights of European cities thus far?
We've just done, I guess it's like 7 days or something in the UK. And, I mean, yeah, we love the continent, but England and Scotland, I mean, UK has just been slamming, man. I guess we should have stayed away 3 years. It's good reason we stayed away 3 years, perhaps, and then built up the suspense.
Well, let's talk a bit about Manic Revelations, if we may, your album from last year. Now, am I right in assuming that Manic Revelations is kind of a little bit of a description of your songwriting process? Is that fair to say?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's like that for a lot of other people. Yeah, it can be war sometimes. You know, writing poetry is so much more freeing. Writing a song is like, you know, yeah, it can be kind of a fight sometimes. So depending on your headspace, depending on what you're writing about, right? There's just different levels of craziness. But yeah, this record specifically, where I was at in my life, where the boys were at, where we were at in our city and the country, and the world today. So many different, you know, anecdotes there. But yeah, it was tumultuous at times.
Because this is your 8th record? There's 7 records to precede it, or was it album number 7?
I think it was album number 7. If you were to consider my first 2 albums, which were solo records, just basically me and guitar,
yeah,
I think you would say 7.
I imagine you're someone that always wants to move forward then. I was going to ask you how you feel. Would you ever go back and change anything from your previous 7 records, or they've catalogued a moment in time and you're cool with that?
Precisely. Yeah, the latter. I mean, I don't really spend a whole lot of time thinking about that or the past, really.
Now you're that far in, do you ever revisit your first solo records? Would you ever put it on at home and think, wow, was that even me? Was that a different person back then?
I certainly don't do it for leisure. I will dig back into old records to maybe relearn some of my songs. I mean, I even have to look on Google for my lyrics sometimes, you know? It doesn't mean that I'm getting old. It just means that I have a lot of songs recorded, I suppose. And so, you know,
how wonderful.
Coming to places like England, where we've been playing for 8 years now, I mean, we get requests here that we don't get in other parts of the world.
I was going to ask you that, yeah.
Jeez. And you have to, what can you really say? You just hope people can understand, like, what do you expect me to do? Do you want me to play 100 songs tonight? You can't play them all. So we get some pretty random requests. But everyone's, you know, the more requests you get of the same song, you say to yourself, you know what, I think it's about time I sit down and listen to myself.
Go back to that one for a moment.
As hard as it is, maybe sometimes I was like, wow, what was I doing on that record? You know, but it's the song that lives on. And then you bring it to the band now and the way we are, and it changes, and it's like, oh, this feels good again.
Awesome. Well, let's talk a bit about your involvement with American Epic. For anyone that hasn't seen American Epic, you can probably do a better job of explaining maybe what the series and the sessions was about and your involvement with it, and then maybe we can discuss your actual experience of the session.
Well, you know, the head honcho, Bernard, he has been searching tirelessly for the undercurrent of the blues and just I guess American music, the roots of rock and roll, if you will, to be very general. But I mean, he was able to find things that people ethnomusicologists and, you know, amateur historians and blues nerds have been looking for decades.
Yeah.
I mean, the same people that, like, if the reason why you hear a lot of these old guys with pictures around here, the reason why you hear their music is because these guys have gone and found their records in the field and taken them and advanced technology to where we can, you know, put it into digital format up to this point, you know. And they didn't even know how to find pictures of, you know, an original photo of Son House in his 20s, and Henry Thomas, the guy who said sang Fish and Blues, right? I mean, it's unbelievable the stuff he was able to find. It goes on and on and on. So half of the documentary is him laying out this stories and the research and the things that he's found, but also doing interviews.
Yeah.
And then the other half is a performance. So I did an interview with Bernard, which I don't think it actually made it into the documentary section, but I did a couple performances, one solo and one with the band. So when you did the musical performance, you sing into a cone, you know? And it was the original recording technology that Columbia Records used. People probably know Columbia Records is still around to this day, right? Bob Dylan's on Columbia Records, but like goes all the way back to the 20s, right? And we sang St. Louis Blues on the original Columbia Records lathe, which was it used to be operated by a pulley system, right?
Which
the
is
only
a
one in the
real
world.
thing of beauty.
And
isn't it?
they show it, they go in depth about it and show a lot in the documentary too. So that's pretty interesting. Anyway, we did the St. Louis Blues in the same machinery that Bessie Smith did it with Louis Armstrong in 1924 or something like that.
Wow, isn't that
Pretty
incredible?
special.
Does look like it was quite a magical experience.
Yeah, very much so. You know, when they had us recording the song, because you're literally just singing to a cone. Again, this is the original way they would record, right? Was just singing and playing to a cone. Bass frequencies don't pick up. Before recording the song, it took maybe 3 hours to sound check.
That was going to be my next question.
Like the
actually.
guitar,
Yeah.
I was like right over here. The bass was like here. The drums were way back there. The mandolin was over here, and I mean, you look at it, it just makes no sense. But you had to do it because people in the control booth kept playing and playing and playing and playing it.
Of course.
And then they're literally mixing just with their ears in there and by moving us to certain areas.
It's incredible.
At the same time, we were limited in the room due to the fact that the camera was on a track.
Oh, okay.
And it was going back and forth.
Yeah.
So half the room was already blocked off. So that added an extra level of complication to it.
It's nice to have another bit of a challenge thrown in there to make it work.
Yeah. Well, and at the same time, knowing that you can't really mess it up because, like, if you do mess up, then you have to re-record it and then also refilm it at the same time.
Is there anything that you've taken from that experience that you will now use, if you like, or what do you learn from recording to that one mic into a modern recording process?
That I'm happy I don't have to do it. At the same time, I love playing music just acoustic without any microphones. I mean, sound checks are hell, no matter what you want to look at it. It's the worst part of our day, to be quite honest with you. But just playing music acoustically, it sounds the richest. So actually, in a lot of ways, it picks up certain instruments in their natural form. Again, bass frequencies don't pick up very well. But yeah, I love that. I mean, I grew up playing on the street. That's how I do it. And a boys could, if the power went out, we could still play.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
So, there's an organic sense to the music when you.
Do you ever get to play in any venues where you can, like, for example, I know Preservation Hall is famous for unamplified music.
Right.
Do you ever get to play anywhere where you don't have to go through a modern PA system?
Not much anymore, but in the early days we did when we first started out. However, if we're in a nice theater or if we're in a smaller club, we'll maybe go to the front of the stage, or I'll just jump out there at the front of the stage for a solo song or something, So
I'd like to chat to you now about your performance. So you're going to do Only a Rose for us in just a moment. It's really interesting because pretty much everyone that's done one of these sessions, we're about 20 films in now. We've had Lead Belly, Muddy Waters, we've had people do R.R. Burnside, Howlin' Wolf, Tom Petty, even the band. I'm very interested to know why you've picked the tune you have, and also mention that it's only actually about, 12 or 13 years old as well, this song?
Well, I stumbled upon Geraint Watkins a couple months ago, and he just has some amazing songs. He's the keyboardist of Nicola, or I played with a lot of other people as well. I just learned the song yesterday. Because there's a few songs off this record of his that I've been wanting to learn, and I used this opportunity to learn a new song. I didn't want to play one that I already knew. And it's also easy to learn in a day and remember for one day. It's a great song because it's totally open to interpretation, which are my favorite songs. Even to the point of being vague with this song. The song's a little vague. But also, I was in England, and I was like, man, I should learn a song from a Brit. At first, I wanted to play a Kinks song, but I thought that would maybe it would be a little too obvious.
What Kinks song would you have done if you were going to choose one?
How do you decide? It's one of my favorite bands. I started playing a little bit yesterday on Death of a Clown.
Right, okay. Perhaps you'd be kind enough to introduce your tune then.
This next song is called Only a Rose by Geraint Watkins.
Only a rose for my darling. Only a rose, only a rose. Only a rose for my darling. She was my pride and joy. Yeah, she was my everything. She was my pride and my joy. She was my everything. Only a rose, only a rose. Only a rose for my darling. Only a rose, only a rose. Only a rose for my darling. She was my pride and joy. She was my everything. She was my pride and my joy. Yeah, she was my everything. Only a rose, only a rose. Only a rose for my darling. Only a rose. Only a rose for my darling. Only a rose for my darling.